Before the story begins, pause for a second. If you believe kindness can change lives, tap the like button. If you love emotional stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark, subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them most. It was raining, the kind of rain that felt personal, as if the sky had chosen one street, one moment, to pour everything it had been holding in. The security lights outside the tall glass building reflected off the wet pavement, turning the night into a blur of silver and shadows. Daniel Cross, CEO of Crosstech Industries, stood near the entrance, his suit jacket folded over his arm, exhaustion etched into his face after a 16-hour day. He was used to pressure, to decisions that moved millions of dollars, but nothing prepared him for the quiet voice that stopped him just as he reached for his car door. "Excuse me," the woman said softly. "I'm sorry to bother you, but can I stay here just for tonight?" Daniel turned, surprised. Standing a few feet away was a woman holding a small child close to her chest. The little boy's head rested on her shoulder, fast asleep, his tiny fingers gripping the edge of her worn jacket. The woman's hair was damp from the rain, her eyes tired but steady, the kind of eyes that had learned how to keep going even when everything said stop. For a moment, Daniel didn't answer. His world was built on rules, protocols, and guarded boundaries. People didn't just ask him for things like this, yet something about the way she stood there, not desperate, not dramatic, just honest, unsettled him. "My name is Maya," she added quickly, as if silence scared her. "This is my son, Leo. We don't need much, just somewhere dry. Just for tonight." Daniel glanced at the security guard inside the building, then back at the rain, then at the child. He thought of his own daughter, Emma, asleep at home with the babysitter, probably clutching her favorite stuffed bear. He remembered the night, years ago, when his wife had passed away, and how the house had never felt warm again after that. "Come inside," he said at last. "We'll figure something out." Maya's shoulders sagged, not in weakness but in relief so deep it looked painful. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea." Inside, the building was quiet, almost hollow. Daniel led them to a small executive lounge with soft couches and warm lighting. He offered water, then tea, then called his assistant to arrange a temporary guest room on the top floor, a space usually reserved for visiting board members. "I don't want charity," Maya said carefully as Leo slept on the couch. "I work. I'm not asking for anything more than a night." Daniel nodded. "This isn't charity," he replied. "It's help. There's a difference." That night, as rain continued to fall, two lives quietly collided under one roof. Maya barely slept. She sat on the edge of the bed, watching Leo breathe, listening to the unfamiliar hum of a building that wasn't a shelter, wasn't a bus station, wasn't a friend's cramped couch. She thought of the choices that led her here: leaving an abusive marriage, working double shifts at a diner, being laid off when the place closed, the landlord who wouldn't wait another week. Down the hall, Daniel sat at his desk, staring at a photo of Emma taped beside his computer. He hadn't planned on opening his world to strangers. He barely let people into his emotions, let alone his space. But something about Maya's quiet strength reminded him of the woman he used to be married to, not in appearance, but in spirit. The next morning, Leo woke up laughing at the echo of his own footsteps in the long hallway. Emma arrived with the babysitter, and for the first time in months, Daniel heard his daughter's laughter mix with someone else's. Maya apologized again and again, but Daniel waved it away. "You can stay until we find a better solution," he said. "No pressure, no timeline." Days turned into weeks. Maya found work in the building's cafeteria, then later in administration. She insisted on paying for groceries, on earning her place. Daniel admired that. He saw how she stayed up late helping Leo with reading, how she never complained, how she carried invisible weight with grace. Challenges came quietly. Rumors spread. Board members questioned Daniel's judgment. "You're blurring lines," one warned. "This could hurt the company." Daniel listened, but for the first time, he didn't immediately comply. He realized leadership wasn't just about profits. It was about people. Maya struggled too. Pride fought gratitude every day. She worried about depending on someone powerful, about what it might look like to Leo. One night she told Daniel she planned to move out as soon as she saved enough. "I don't want him growing up thinking kindness always comes with conditions," she said. Daniel looked at her seriously. "Neither do I. That's why there are none." The turning point came when Leo fell sick. A high fever, a rush to the hospital, long hours in a waiting room that smelled of antiseptic and fear. Maya broke down there, finally letting the tears she'd held back for years fall freely. Daniel stayed, not as a CEO, not as a savior, but as another parent who understood helplessness. "You're not alone," he said quietly. Months later, Maya moved into a small apartment nearby. It wasn't luxury, but it was safe. Daniel helped in ways that didn't take away her independence. References, flexible hours, quiet support. Emma and Leo became inseparable, their laughter echoing through playgrounds and living rooms. There was no dramatic confession, no sweeping romance. Just trust built slowly, like a bridge plank by plank. Two adults healing, two children learning that families can be formed in unexpected ways. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the city skyline, Maya stood outside her apartment with Daniel. "You know," she said, smiling softly, "that night I asked to stay just for tonight. I thought you'd say no." Daniel smiled back. "So did I." Life didn't magically become perfect, but it became kinder, stronger, more honest. And that is the answer he gave her. Not just with words, but with actions that changed 4 lives forever. If this story moved you, remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Because sometimes, all it takes to change a life is one brave question and one compassionate answer.